For math, I start out with the target. All lessons that I teach, I start out with the target. That focuses me, and then it helps focus them. If they ever have a time where they're confused about what we're going out, there's an actual physical target written on the wall that kind of summarizes what the point of our lesson is about. So for math, I find that the needs vary from day to day. So I used to use small group in math, but I found that it's more one-on-one. So I require my students to do basically a KWL. What do you know? Because I need to know what you're coming to me with. That gives me a real gauge of, you know what I mean, which students are going to need that additional support. At that point, I do a lot of one-on-one conferencing. For math, that's like kind of my big ticket. I need to have the conversation to really know what's going on. It's not something that can necessarily come out in a group, because perhaps there's one student that's stronger than others in math. Because it's pointed on a specific concept, it's important for me to have that one-on-one conferencing. So I would say one-to-one conferencing is my most important instructional strategy that I use during math. I'd say organization is the key, the foundation. I had to prepare all of the parts, whether it's the templates of the triangles to the geometric terms that was on their KWL chart, so I could see what they remembered from before, how it's translated. Did you learn this last year? I had to prepare all of these things in advance. And then their mini web quest, something I created at home. So I had to organize that out. I had to go through it, make sure that this made sense, you know, as far as the progression, and that it all matched the target. So organization is the foundation. Without it, I don't know what would have happened there. Okay, our classroom rule, we have one rule: respect each other. I use the same cues and checks that I did with the language arts lesson. I use give me 5. That's to get their attention real quick, to stop any discussion, to stop whatever they're doing. They kind of freeze, got to sit down and look at me. 1, 2, 3 is awesome in math, because a lot of times I found that my students are afraid to say, I don't know. So in order to get that, to take that discomfort from them, they can simply give me a number. It's a really quick, easy check. I can see visually, okay, you got it. You may need a little work. Okay, you're going to come back to me right now. We're going to have this conference right away. Also, using a quest, web quest, is something that allows me to see their work and to make sure they're staying on task. So I did have one student that was a little off task. So I'm able to redirect him quickly, because I can see immediately whether or not you're doing what's required or being asked of you. And I don't have to embarrass anyone. I don't have to make a big deal. It's not a big spectacle. I can just simply say, hey, come back here and work with me. And just kind of give the eye contact, and then there's no time lost, and everybody can get their job done. So. As far as student engagement, the kids love using online resources. So with this class specifically, I straight up did a survey at the beginning of the year and asked them which way they preferred to learn, and they told me that they like learning this way. So it does take a bit of time on my part, but for the payoff is that I don't have to worry about kids staying on task, because they want to do it, especially when there's games embedded into it and there's a Kahoot at the end. That's the big ticket in my class. They want to complete it successfully, because they know, first of all, Ms. Brown's going to check it, and we can't do the Kahoot until everyone is 100% POW with what we have set out to do. So as far as engagement, like I said, outside of the 1 or 2 students that were a little off task, I usually don't have any issues with it, because of the format in which the lesson is presented. So this is part of our large geometry unit. They love it. They love it because it's basically like drawing, right? They get to draw things, except they have meaning and purpose behind them. So as far as student engagement, I have some students that came with a wealth of knowledge from from previous years or from wherever. So those students, I have to find ways to bump it up. So the quest allows me to give them those little alternate, like the games, like I was saying, and the I can find other resources and that kind of push them where they need to go. For students that are struggling, the engagement, I kind of, I guess, manage it, being that I would do a one-on-one conference. So they're engaged because we're working together to get through. It's kind of like to solve the problem, to figure out where it is we want to go. So I don't know if it's necessarily that they're personally interested, but the engagement is there because I kind of facilitate it in those cases. So I have this really cute song that I made to go with this lesson. However, I decided not to use it today because I realized there was a lot of, they needed to practice, they needed to understand, they needed just to get the basic understanding of the different ways to classify. So ultimately, I would want this lesson to be one day, and I would want to end with that song because I found that the songs are what keep it in their head. They will never forget it. So I want to, I guess time management better. I probably would take out my mini lesson initially because a lot of the information that I gave them, and it was just kind of like here's a little taste, was embedded in the web quest. So it was almost redundant for those kids that got it. It was a little too easy because then they're like, hey, I already knew this from, I don't even need to really watch this video. But for those who were struggling, I feel like they could have gotten the information from the web quest. So I think I would actually take the mini lesson portion out completely and just use the KWL to give me my background information and have them go directly into the web quest in the future.